Okay, I'm here with the Weed Witch. We've gathered our materials for our seed starting soil blocker mix. What have we gathered so far, Tamara?
Well, we have the humanure, which we have over this beautiful bin that we just sifted, have videos on.
Yeah, we just grabbed 2 5-gallon buckets of this humanure, aged 3 to 5 years. Beautiful looking compost.
It's so pretty.
We just sifted it through this little 3/8 inch screen and got all these roots out of it. There was a bunch of tree roots growing up into it. So we got those. We'll save that for some other material. What do we got here, my dear?
This is a combination of bunny and goat manure. That's like at least 2 years old.
Aged compost, bunny and goat manure. We're going to sift that next.
And then this is just straight goat manure. It's been building up for years. And we haven't had the goats over here in about a year. So this is like a year and beyond, because we just didn't go and collect over there because we knew we'd use it for the hugels and for soil building. So
it's really beautiful material.
It's really pretty. And then we have this pine cone like mix we got at the bottom of a tree where it looks like squirrels are in, and it had so much mycelium. And this is just broken down pine cones that I believe that the squirrels are sitting up in the tree, and these are all their like little droppings.
Yeah, I love this material. So we have these big pine trees up there, and you can see up in the top of that pine tree are those pine cones, those big pine cones, and the squirrels here love to eat them. So at the base of these trees we find piles of this material where the squirrels are eating this stuff, and we dig into it and it's always full of mycelium and it's breaking down beautifully. Look at, here is the pine cone that's had all of the little leaves chewed off of it, and I mean, look at the mycelium on that, look at the white on there, just breaking that down. So we're going to sift this and add a little bit of that to our soil block mix just to get some more diversity and some more IMO. We're going to add a little bit of our old potting soil to this mix, and we're going to make ourselves some soil blockers to start our full-term personal use ganja seeds.
Yeah, and some of our medicinal herb seeds too, other herb seeds.
That's right. So it's February 2nd today. You want to talk about the lunar cycle and why we're planting on this specific day?
Today is a new moon, and which is really good for starting seeds. And then with also on the biodynamic calendar for the next 2 days, it's really good for flowers, for starting flower seeds. And so that's why we're starting them today. I like to follow the calendar because each day is either root, flower, leaf, or fruit. And then you're able to kind of like plan all of your plantings around those times. And for me, I really like to do all plantings during the new moon, and then sometimes during the full moon. But then during the waning moon, I like to do transplanting and like pruning and just different things like that, especially with the roots. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So which one is this?
This is the combination of the goat and bunny. Let me go ahead and do this one.
The goat and the bunny. It's really beautiful. It's like killer compost and killer manure.
We've moved our bunnies and our goats around a few times, so one of those places that we had them I hadn't really touched. I was just kind of waiting for a good time, and this was perfect.
This is that good time.
Aged manure.
We're just getting all these big chunks out of here.
Yeah, these rocks.
I see a few bunny pellets in there. I see a few goat pellets falling through.
Yeah, right. You see that? It's pretty though.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, that looks great. So tell us about this material.
This is literally just straight goat manure built up over about 3 years. And we actually, this was all, the goats were all on rock, and so all this is just built up, and now we have like all this grass growing over there, and so I literally just lifted the grass up, put it aside, and just scooped this up. So this is just straight broken down goat manure.
It's so gorgeous.
It's just so pretty.
It's so primo. And that grass that's growing really strong over there, we're gonna weed whack some of that and make a Jadam liquid fertilizer out of that. That's gonna be one of our first high nitrogen vegging liquid fertilizers that we're going to make, because that grassy patch is just growing so well. Here in Lake County, it's pretty rocky. I mean, the grass is only really growing where we've been, you know, where Tamara's been laying down soil and starting to cultivate over the years. Otherwise, it's pretty bare soil around here. So
in this part of Lake County.
In this part, yeah. So making good use of even that little patch of grass. You know?
Definitely. We use everything here. Like even our star thistle is important. Like we use it everything we can, because we don't have many grasses. We've been having to build those up. So this is gold for us. So.
Yeah.
It's nice to see
this
the
stuff
grass.
is just beautiful material. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So we're going to use this as one of the components in our soil blocker mix for our seed starts. Here's all our materials for the soil blockers. Humanure, goat, composted bunny and goat. This is composted chicken manure. And this is the pine cone, the squirrel broken down pine cone leaf mold, we're going to call it, or pine cone mold. And we're going to add just a little bit of that for even more aeration and more diversity of microbes. Tamara just found this little bit of old compost that was in a compost tea bag. She's doing a little compost tea dance there, breaking up the old compost that was in there, and she's just going to add that. Just adding it to these squirrel microbes.
So these will be a small amount.
Yeah, so we just got a little more diversity of microbes, a little more diversity of material. She's mixing that in.
Looks like there's some biochar in there too.
And we're going to mix a little bit of our old potting soil in here as well. Maybe 10%, maybe 25%. We'll see. So we're going to mix all these ratios together, add a little bit of fertility, a lot of good compost, a lot of diversity to our soil block mix, and see if we can come up with a good mix that'll hold together, still have good aeration, not be too compacted, and be a good little home for these ganja seedlings. We're going to show you how to make soil blocks today. We're here at Heal Thyself Gardens, where it's February 2nd. We're making our full-term cannabis seed plantings. They're going in today. We're going to make these soil blocks to plant them in. We've been sifting these materials all morning. We've got our sifted, aged humanure blend of 2 humanure piles, 5-year and 3-year-old. This was the chicken manure bedding. This was chicken manure compost from underneath where we were feeding the chickens. This is some IMO, indigenous microorganisms. This is basically a pine cone leaf mold at the base of these trees where the squirrels are breaking down these pine cones. And then we mixed a little bit of old compost from a compost tea in there. This is goat and chicken manure. You can see some little goat pellets in there. Goat and chicken manure blend, just beautiful. And this is just goat manure. I mean, God, it doesn't get any better than this. This is all aged compost, at least a year or 2 years on the goat and the chicken. So we're going to start mixing these ratios together, and we're going to wet this up. I'm going to start with this chicken manure blend because it's got a lot of this straw, it's got a lot of this organic matter. I think it's going to give good aeration. It's already got a little moisture in it. I'm going to start with 2 of these 4-inch pots of this. Okay, we got 2 parts of that. Let's go to the let's do 4 parts of this. I think this is going to be our main base is going to be the chicken manure. 4 parts of that chicken. And then let's go to the humanure. This is really well broken down, composted. Were you using a lot of ash in the chicken?
Yes.
In the humanure? That's why we're seeing this color. Is a lot of the wood ash was the carbon source to help the nitrogen compost, the nitrogen of the human manure. So we're going to do 2 parts of the humanure. This is looking really good already. Let's do 1 part of each of these, 1 part of the goat and chicken, and let's do 1 part of the regular goat. Maybe let's do, yeah, and then we're gonna do like a half a part. I'm just gonna do half a part for now of the squirrel IMO. You want to come over here and look at what this looks like in here? Now I'm going to mix this all by hand, get this all mixed together. You can see I've just got a tote here with a nice flat bottom. And like to usually use a tote with a lower side on it, like a dishwashing like a dishwashing bin or something. But this is mixing up really nicely. Look how lovely that is. A few little sticks, a little bit of organic matter that'll add some aeration. We don't want this to be too compacted, so you want to have some little sticks and twigs and rocks. And look, there's a little piece of charcoal that'll act as biochar. Mixing this all up nice and mixed up. Then we're going to add some water. We've got... Great job, little child helper. Now stack those pots up.
I did it.
Okay, great. Well, we'll be in there in just a minute when we're done and give you some more stuff to do. We're going to add a little bit of water. This is some rainwater.
No, I don't like other stuff. This is the only job I like.
Okay, well then take a break. We're shooting our video, honey. Okay, so we're using our, this is just a little bit of water that collected from the rain.
Yeah.
Just adding a little bit of moisture here, mixing it in. We're going to add some more moisture. Mix this in, And we're trying to find a good consistency so that this will start to stick together. We don't want it to be like mud. We don't want to squeeze a handful of it and have water just dripping out between our fingers. We want to be able to squeeze a handful of it and have just a couple little drops of moisture escape from between our fingers. So we're still very dry. I'm taking my sweet time adding this moisture to it. We're going to mix it in some more. Taking our sweet time, getting that consistency just right. It's smelling really good. It's getting nice and moist. So see, you're squeezing it, still no moisture coming out from between those fingers. So let's add a little bit more.
I'm going back to the house.
Okay, see you later. Child labor is good for about 20 minutes. And then it seems to peter out. Okay, it's getting a little more moisture in it. And starting to get there. Still not quite there. I want to add a little bit more. But I'm liking how this is feeling. I'm really digging how this is feeling. You know, I think we could get this a little wetter, and I think it'll hold together a little bit better as we go to make our first soil blocks. So these soil blocks are a way that we can help eliminate plastic from our farming operations. These are widely used in the European nursery industry, and for some reason it just hasn't taken a foothold here in the US. But for minimal effort, we can make our own little soil blocks and reduce a lot of this on-farm plastic that only lasts a year or two. A lot of commercial operations only use them once and then throw them away because they're worried about pests and pathogens. So this is our soil blocker. This makes a little 4-inch block of soil with a little hole in it that we can put a seed in. We got our tray right here. So the way I'm going to do this, the way they say you can do it, is just mash it down in there and it'll all fill in. I don't find that to be the case. I like to pack it in here so I can make sure each one of these is actually going to be completely filled in and make a complete soil block. So I'll gently pack them in here. I'm not packing them in here really tight because I don't want to have compacted soil. I want these seedlings and these taproots to have a pretty easy time getting through that. So you see, I just put a little bit of pressure on it. I packed them in there pretty good. You can see the bottom. It's all full all the way across. And then I'm going to go over here to my tray. I'm pushing down, and I'm going to push down a little bit on this handle while I pull up, and that's going to push them out. So here we go. Giving a little tap just so they're a little solid, and boom,
Nice.
There's your soil blocks. Little hole in them. We'll throw our little seedling right in there, and yeah, you can see they're holding together pretty well. That's a perfect little soil block right there.
So beautiful.
Yeah, ready to go. And this tray will hold 50 once chance with it once this is all done. We're going to do 3 trays today and plant 150 seedlings. So that's the start of your soil block. We're using our own homemade materials. We're not buying anything. All materials from the farm, all materials easy to make with animal waste, human waste, composting. So let's do what we can to eliminate plastic in our gardens, in our farming operations. So this is what they call the 2-inch soil block. They make a smaller one that holds 5 soil blocks, and they're 1.5 inches. And then they make a bigger one, a 4-inch soil block that's about the size of a half-gallon pot. And these little 2-inch blocks fit right in the hole in the middle of those. So we'll get ourselves one of those so we can up pot these into. So here's our second little batch of soil blockers right there. I'm just bellying them up right up next to that other one. A little bit of pressure.
Beautiful.
And there's our second round. So that's soil blockers, y'all. Get some. Okay, we're ready to plant our soil blocks now. We actually already got our seeds in a whole tray of them there. You can see how we've labeled it. Tape on the side, and just Sharpie on the side. We're just doing 5 seeds of each. So there's our 5 BVD by AOs, our 5 Blue Verdes, and then we'll just put a little pinch of soil right on top of those seeds. You can see seeds sitting in each one of those little dimples made by the soil blocker. We'll put a little pinch of soil and then we'll lightly water it in. You want to be careful. If you water this in with a lot of force, it can wash the seed right off it. So we got 2 more trays we're going to plant. What are we doing now, Tamara, with these little baby seeds?
And now we're taking these seeds and gonna put them in my mouth, and then I kind of take the hat off a little bit and bring in the sun energy and imagine these plants really, really big and beautiful and their fullest potential, and then we'll plant them.
Yeah. So we put these in our mouths so we can inoculate these with our own microbiome. This is a way to immediately put some microbiology and some microbes onto your seeds. So the moment they sprout, they're going to have all these microbes going to work, doing their jobs just like they would do in the soil. So we connect with these seeds as much as we can. We literally put them in our mouths, and you know, we are as connected to these plants as we could possibly be, and put that kind of intention into these crops and into this sacramental herb that we grow and this medicine. And yeah, just pop them right in there. There was no special preparation done to these seeds. These are going right into soil. And these won't be put on any heat mats. They're going to be put right out here in that tiny little greenhouse right there. They won't get any supplemental light. It's first week of February here in Northern California. You can put your full-term seeds outdoors in your greenhouse with no supplemental light starting in February. You might even be able to do it in January, but I've been putting them outdoors in February for my whole time I've been growing, going back to the 90s, mid-90s. And you know, you're going to need supplemental light if you're dealing with clones, but not if you're dealing with seeds. These plants are intelligent. Unless it's some weird autoflower or something that has a sensitive photo period, they shouldn't flower early on you. It's only when people start them indoors and start messing with the light cycle and trying to match the outdoor light cycle, it's very difficult. Most people are not good at it. And they get their plants outside and they, you know, turn the lights off too early and things flower out. And so do not put lights on your seeds. If you're putting them outdoors, starting them right now, put them in a hoop. Put them, if you've got a greenhouse that's really big and it's really cold and drafty, build a little hoop inside that greenhouse. That's what I did for a lot of years, just a hoop inside the greenhouse. And that would be really warm. Put a little table in there. Put some buckets of water on the legs of the table, so that the legs are sitting in those buckets. That'll help keep slugs off your table. We put little beer traps out also for the slugs. Definitely set some mouse traps. Mice can definitely be an issue. The main predators of our seeds around here are slugs and mice. So those are our biggest concerns. I've also had birds eat my little seedlings. So make sure that your whatever hoop or greenhouse you're putting them in can be secure. Make sure that the birds aren't eating your stuff, because I had it I had it happen really bad one year. Small plants, and they just ate the little leaves down to almost nothing. So watch out for that. But yeah, that's how we plant these seeds, you guys. This is the beginning of our garden for the year. These are our personal use plants that we will be consuming and making medicine out of and making hash out of. So really excited that you could join us on this little journey. Took some real scrutinizing to pick all these strains. We've got about 30 plus different strains we're going to be working with, and we're really just looking to have 1 or 2 good female plants. So we're going to be starting a round of seeds later in the year in June, and those will be the plants that we actually breed with. Those will be the males that we use, so we don't have to keep males so long throughout the year, and so that we'll have fresh pollen when we need it in the fall. So we won't have to store our pollen long term and risk our pollen going bad, which is certainly an issue. So that's how we do our soil blockers, and that's how we're starting our season, y'all. Any final words, Weed Witch?
Blessings to everyone this season. May your plants grow big and may your weed be strong.
Yeah, that's what's up.